My '01 Porsche 911 Turbo is far from perfect. It's never been a garage queen, at least not in the last 10 years. Still needs a lot of work, and it's never going to be showroom quality, and I'm okay with that. And part of the reason for that is I don't want this car to be perfect. This is a driver's car. It looks really, really good now, but I want to enjoy driving it and not worrying about if it gets a couple scrapes, scratches, maybe even a dent or two. That would actually really bother me. I just want to be able to enjoy the car, and with 150,000 miles, why not? Why not shoot for 200,000 miles while it's in my possession? The car still has a long way to go, but has at the same time come a long way from when I bought it about a year ago. That doesn't mean that there's not a lot of stuff that you guys haven't roasted me for, which I'm going to address and fix in this video. I'm going to fix almost everything you guys have been hammering me about, so that you guys will be really happy with the outcome and finished product in this video. Got some couple unexpected problems and modifications that I have to do to the 996 today. I was hoping to get to the suspension, but not all the new suspension components have showed up. So the KW coilovers will be getting installed shortly, but I'm replacing a whole bunch of other stuff at the same time, and I'm still waiting on that stuff. Also, guys, I don't think I can take the comments anymore. I think I have to fix my circumcised e-brake. Ever since I got pounded with comments over this thing and how it looks like a circumcised willy, I can't do it anymore. I can't. I'll never look at it the same. By now, I'm sure you guys are all aware that the Ridge makes awesome wallets, but did you know they also make rings? And they make a good variety of rings as well. This includes carbon fiber, tungsten carbide, 24 karat gold, and what I have here, titanium, plus a dual band silicone ring as well. That way, if you're like me, working in the garage, working on your old junker of a German vehicle, and you don't want to wear a metal ring because you don't want to scratch your car, you can wear the nice silicone one and not worry about it. And if you're interested in any of these rings, as usual, you can use my discount code ROSS, and that'll get you 10% off. Or you can go to theridge.com/ROSS. Now, the silicone ones are comfortable, but so are the other versions. This titanium ring here has an outer beveled edge for on-hand comfort and an inner convex shape for a comfortable no-pinch fit. This particular one here is the stone-washed titanium. Very cool. What truly makes these rings stand out is their lost and resizing protection. So whether you lose your ring or lose 20 pounds, each purchase comes with the option of 2 future exchanges for the same ring in the same or different size. That way, if your fingers go up in size or down in size, you don't have to worry about having the wrong sized ring. Now, that same signature style and care and quality that they put into their wallets is the same thing you can expect in their rings. If you want a high quality ring plus a ring you can use when working out, hunting, cooking, etc., check out the Ridge, because the beveled ring set gives you a solution for every occasion. And if you want to save money so you can put more money into your Porsche or broken down German vehicle like me, go to ridge.com/ROSS to get your discount on your new ring set. Thank you to the Ridge for sponsoring another video. Car's been driving absolutely phenomenally. I've been taking it pretty much all the time. I haven't driven my truck or the E36 since this has been fixed. But that leads to a problem. You see, the amp isn't in the car anymore, and that's because I was driving it around and the music wasn't working. The radio was on, the amplifier switch built into the radio was on, but I had no sound. So I checked the amp, power light wasn't on, replaced the fuses, and then the amp started smoking. And you know that sound that you get whenever like a fire just starts or a flame just kicks on? It had that sound. So there was actually an internal flame inside the amp. Didn't blow the fuses the second time, just decided to ignite. So I'm trying to see if I can get that warranted. I have no idea, but I have absolutely no confidence in these Pioneer amps. I mean, this fit the bill. This did everything I needed it to do. A 5-channel amp with good wattage, and it was compact. And those aren't easy to find. So with the help of you guys, my Facebook groups, and some other locations, I actually am switching to a Kenwood amp. You guys recommended the X8205. And as you'll see, it's actually smaller than the Pioneer. And I'm gonna mount it in a different location than this was. You guys remember where I had this? I had foam and I had it slotted down into sort of where the OEM amp went. Did that lead to its failure? I don't know. A couple of you guys said, well, it might get too hot in there. I didn't think it would. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but either way it failed. So I'm gonna mount the Kenwood a little differently. Now before I install the amp, I finally have a Pennsylvania license plate. If you guys didn't know, you probably did because I get comments on it a lot. I had a temporary Maryland tag on the car from when I got it at the dealership. And there's a whole story to why I've had that, because it's been expired for a while now. So I got the car at a dealership in Maryland. I live in PA. The dealership charged me a registration fee for Pennsylvania, which I thought was for a new plate. Months go by, plate doesn't show up. I call the dealership. They're like, oh no, that was just the fee we charge you for a temp tag. I'm like, I was under the impression I was getting a PA plate. So that wasn't the case. I got the title in the mail, the Maryland title. I go to the PA licensing center, take them all the paperwork, yada, 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 apply for a classic tag for the car because it is old enough for that. And I pay extra money to have the plate shipped to my house. Months go by, no plate. However, my PA title shows up. And guess what it has on the title? This is a 2001 911 Turbo. Well, the licensing center wrote down it was a 1901. So if you weren't aware, this was the first vehicle ever made. So not only is the title wrong and I don't have the plate, well, they finally call me and they say, hey, your plate came in. And I said, well, I paid extra to have it shipped to my house. So I go there to pick it up and they don't have the plate. And they couldn't find it. They didn't know where it was. They said, oh, just wait a couple days. It should show up. It might have been shipped. Might have been shipped. And I also tell them about how, you made this car 100 years older. And they're like, oh, whoops. Bring the title back in and we'll get it fixed and get you a new title. Okay, great. So lo and behold, the plate finally shows up like yesterday. I get the registration and you'll see there, 1901. It's a 1901 Porsche, yeah. So I have a plate, but the registration information and title is still not correct. This is PennDOT. If you live in Pennsylvania, you know they suck. So first off, I'm gonna put a real plate on the car, finally. Yeah, that's a little better. Small garage problems. Something else I have to do is put the cover on the fuel pump. I never put it back on after upgrading the fuel pump and dealing with all that catastrophe that was months and months and months ago. I do have it. I know you guys said, well, why don't you put that back on? I just forgot about it. I don't know why. Now it's on to the Kenwood amp install. Luckily, all the wiring is already there. The only thing I have to figure out is exactly how I'm going to mount it, and I don't think my aux cords are labeled, and I couldn't find pictures of how I had them on the Pioneer, so I'm going to have to either take the radio out and look behind it or just test and see so I can figure out which RCA cable goes where on the new amp, because there are 6 of them. I think my plan is actually just to mount it right there. It's a freaking perfect spot. I can run all my wires. The only thing is adjusting that might be a little bit of a hassle. I could mount it down in there like I did before, and I might do that, but I am a little worried about the overheating, so I think I'm going to leave it up here this time. So I got to refigure out all the wires all over again, the RCA cables and all the speaker wires, so I'm going to be here for a bit figuring that out. Whenever I'm done, I'll let you guys know and you can see why my camera's moving by itself. Interesting. And I'll show you the finished product and hopefully everything works and nothing catches fire. I said this before in another video, I'm sort of color blind, not colorblind, more color deficient. So doing speaker wiring like this is often difficult for me because a lot of the wires look to be the same color. So this took a little bit for me to figure out. As of right now, everything is wired up except for the RCA cable. So I think my plan is to actually start playing some music through there and plug them in one at a time and make sure they're going to the right location. That's my plan. We'll see if it works. After trying out the just test it and see if it works correctly method for a bit, I realized that was not the way to go about this. And the radios are so easy to remove in this, it would basically save me time to pull the radio out, look at all the audio cables, make sure the colors were correct and going to the right location on the amp. And in the end, that saved me time. Let's see if they all work. I don't know what I'm doing. Didn't know you were still on. Well, everything works. I just have a lot of fine tuning to go with the radio and the amp and everything else. Plus I gotta mount it. So that's what's next. There was a lot of back and forth here because there's a bunch of settings in the stereo itself and then a bunch of settings on the amp, and I was researching high pass filters and low pass filters and all the different switches and everything, looking through the user manual, just trying to optimize my setup as it stands. I ended up playing with the settings on the radio and the amp itself a lot, and I got it to sound pretty darn good, way better than the old Pioneer. It might just be the fact that I took more time setting this one up. But I got high pass filters, low pass filters. I also wired up the door subs, that's what you call them, a little differently than last time. Last time I wired them up in a series or maybe a parallel, either way. I'm not sure what you call it, but this time I wired them up basically both the negative to the negatives and both positive to the positive. That way it's running in 4 ohms. I think the way I had it wired up last time was in 8 ohms. So now I think they're getting more power. I'm not an electronics wizard by any means, but they do have a lot more bass, it seems, and everything just seems clearer on the inside, and this is still with all stock speakers. I am gonna upgrade them though, but now I need to actually mount the amp. And my plan is to put a little piece of plywood underneath there, attach the plywood to these basically 2 clips there the previous owner already drilled holes in. And then I'll attach the amp to the plywood and it's gonna sit exactly like that and look pretty clean. 6.5 by 9.5. Got a leftover sheet of flooring, which is actually gonna work perfect because it has a nice rubber-like insulation underneath it.
Warning, warning, warning.
Hey Google, what's half of 3 7/8 of an inch?
The answer is approximately 1.938 inches.
That's super strong. I'm pleased with that. I'm pretty happy with that. It's got rubber underneath, so that's going to help dampen the vibrations, and I have the foam on top, which is obviously going to help dampen vibrations. No cutting or drilling holes in the car, just plops in there, so I just have to screw this down and then screw the amp down to it. Now, I certainly wasn't going to leave the amp wiring looking like that. I was just waiting on some new tools and connectors to finish the job properly. Having the right tool always makes the job better, and this is a tool I've never had, a battery cable crimping tool, if that's what you want to call it. I was pretty excited to try this one out. Much nicer connections up here. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm no wiring junkie by any means, but it's fairly clean. It's nice it comes with this little cover here. That makes it look even better. I will say the frunk on this thing is so much cleaner than when I first got it. This was an absolute mess. I've replaced a ton of paneling under here. The amp couple times. Got a nice LED light in there. It's just a lot better. I'm really happy with it. I wouldn't be embarrassed to put luggage in there. After getting the new amp installed and getting the radio put back in after having it out to look at the audio cables, make sure they're all hooked up correctly, each color aligned, etc., I realized my backup camera wasn't working, so I figured I just left the cable unplugged from the back of the radio, or it somehow just slipped out. Well, it turns out that wasn't the case. Got the radio put all back together. Turns out I didn't have a loose wire or anything on the back for the video camera. The actual input for the video, one of the main pin kind of fell off and it's gone. So now it doesn't work. I'm gonna have to replace that somehow. So for now, I don't have a backup camera, which isn't the worst thing. It's just the fact that I did all the work to run the wiring and now it doesn't work. But I'll get that taken care of eventually. Now I want to put the car up and do some work underneath it. There's a lot of little fixes going on in this video. Next up, I want to install this, a new reverse switch. I don't know if my reverse switch is the problem with the car. Hopefully it's not something worse like a transmission problem, but reverse lights only intermittently come on, and I'm not sure why. So the first step, and relatively easy step, is to do this. The annoying thing is getting it up on the quick jacks. I think I might have to drop a skid plate or an under tray to get access to this. It just unscrews and then click the new connector in. Got to take an under tray off. Not sure if I can even get a wrench on that. Just maybe I can get a wrench on there. Or a socket, I should say. There we go. Socket's on. Ouch! Ooh, it's loose. Nice and easy. I don't see anything abnormal about that. All right, and it's tight. Plug it in. We'll be done. All right, connected. See what happens. I think that done it. I think that done it, boys. Nice. It's coming on every time. Excellent. That makes me happy. Oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurt a lot. That went rather well. Pretty happy with that. That's, I think that's all I needed to do under here. Actually, while I'm back here, a couple of you said these exhaust tips, this one's pointed up a little higher, which I think you're right. So, I'm going to fiddle with these a little bit. That looks better, I think. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, if you're asking me. Wouldn't be a true Matt Ross video special if I didn't throw away the broken part that I replaced. Kind of insignificant. You guys have been asking for one of these as well for a while, and I finally got one. Yes, it's getting a turbo badge. I was totally fine with the badgeless look, but I figured these badges really aren't expensive, so I might as well buy it, try it. Worst case scenario, if I don't like it, I'll just take it back off. I gotta make sure that I place it correctly. That shouldn't be too hard to figure out, right guys? Ooh, this thing's dirty. That looks good to me.